for our themes of art. We talked about iconoclasm. So our first image is 3.2, and we're under our theme of the sacred realm. This is a mosque in Cordoba, Spain, 8th century. For a period of time, Islam was the predominant religion and the predominant also political order as well. But this is about the sacred realm in Spain, and this is a interior of a mosque, an area for prayer. There's a lot of open space on the ground for people to put out prayer rugs and to be away from the outside world. No imagery in here. You noticed the way Islamic art is quite often demonstrated, or creativity, is pattern and design. So you see a lot of repetition here, that kind of thing. Some ornate columns. You have a Corinthian column here, which we'll get more into in architecture. But there isn't a big image here of a person or a deity. All right, that's somewhat contrasted with our next two images from the book. One is Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhist on the left, and the other is Christian, and that one is in Italy. And these are really similar in terms of layout, which is kind of remarkable. The time period is close too. It's 12th, 13th century, but we are miles and miles apart, thousands of miles apart with these two cultures, these two religions. So with Buddhism, we have a Buddha. There's 5 transcendent Buddhas. This particular Buddha is seated here with attendants on either side. These are bodhisattvas. And very similarly, we have Mary with the Christ child, and we have angels. So these two religions have a lot of corresponding imagery. Belief systems are quite different, but the imagery is really similar. Also, the layout with these two pieces are, Buddha is on this lotus blossom, which is one of your iconography. This is an icon here. And then also she's on a throne, and it's cut off here in the same manner. So it's very interesting to see a similar layout, similar but different. This is much flatter in terms of representation, and this has some depth, but it's still not, we're not getting into one-point perspective yet. The Renaissance has not happened yet. Okay, so down here we have a register, is what we call it, a level of images that are below the Buddha. Some different things. There's a horse. And down here we have some saints, perhaps some other people looking on to Mary, some eye contact up here. But for the most part, they're subordinate, meaning they are lower than her, okay? The other similar thing here is the hand gestures. They have different meanings, but the hand gestures are very similar, and they're very potent, excuse me, in these two religions. I'm going to read from the book here. On 3.3 on our Buddha, his right hand makes a gesture of bestowing vows. His left, the gesture of meditation. So that's his left hand. And then if we look toward Mary, her right hand is indicating the Christ child, who raises his right hand in a gesture of benediction. So that gesture, that finger sort of pointing up but casually held, that's a gesture of benediction. So you have two different pieces of art here, very similar constructs, compositions. Okay, so the next one is a politics and social order. We have more currently and more in our time frame quite a bit more of this work, but the past holds quite a bit as well. The pyramids, these are built for the pharaohs, which were also the rulers of the time, both spiritual and political. So you see the size of these relative to a human being or even a camel, they're quite massive, all right? So when you have something that is that large, you have an absolutely sense that there's a hierarchy in the structure, and that the the pharaoh is quite powerful. Okay, these are really important, these tombs, burial structures, but still they are in the horizon and seen by all. Okay, the next one that I have is Eugene Delacroix, Liberty Leading the People. This is a slightly different take. This is going to be politics and social order to a degree, but this is also social protest. Okay, this is against the idea of holding or upholding the political structure. This is really recent in this time. This is 1830. You did not see a lot of work like this. Goya was one of the first during the Spanish Inquisition. This is a French piece. This is just after the time of the French Revolution, and this has to do with an uprising in Paris that toppled the government and installed another. Okay, so we didn't see this kind of uprising and this kind of change in history before this time. So this is kind of an unusual piece. This is sort of the beginning of